Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read the S6 6057, chapter 7. Everything got super bright and white hot. I was so glad we had those suits and goggles for protection. We're really getting electric now, said Tim. This is it. The freeze agreed. Once a streamer and a step ladder meet, they form a path between the cloud and the ground that lets very powerful current of electrons travel back up to the cloud. The current of electrons is so strong, it releases tremendous amounts of heat and light, which we see as a bolt of lightning. I couldn't see anything. We were moving so fast. We zoomed back up toward the cloud with all the other electrons. At least, I think that's what was happening with all that white-hot heat and light around us. It was hard to know for sure. I'm afraid to look, said Arnold. Tell me when. Boom. An explosion shook the air around us. Let me tell you, it was more than just loud. That noise was deafening. Holy cow. Let me guess, Arnold said through chattering teeth. That was thunder. Right again, Miss Frizzle answered. What makes thunder? Lightning heats up the air around it in an instant. The heat makes the air expand very fast. When the hot air hits the colder air around it, it makes a big noise. That's thunder. Shook my head until the ringing in my ears stopped. So I said, lightning releases 3 kinds of energy: heat, light, and sound. I just want to know when it's going to release us, said Arnold. I want to get out of here. I definitely agreed, but for Miss Frizzle, riding a bolt of lightning was more fun than the supersonic whip at the amusement park. Wahoo! Class, we are moving at the speed of lightning. That's 90,000 miles per second. In case you are wondering, DA punched some numbers into her pocket calculator, which is equal to 100 million feet per second, she added. So that's why we're traveling so fast. In a flash, we're back up at the bottom of the cloud. Phew, I said. Finally, things are slowed down enough for us to look around. Hey, we're all electrons on the same atom again, said Tim. I guess shooting down to the earth and back again had shaken up a lot of electrons. Sure enough, we're all zipping around a single knot of protons and neutrons again. All of us except Charlie. That is, I still didn't see any sign of him, but I did see something else. Magic school bus, I shouted. There it was, resting among the electrons at the base of the thundercloud. Liz was at the wheel. She opened the door, but when we tried to get to the bus, we couldn't. The pull of our atom is holding us in an orbit, DA said. We can't break free. Bad, oh bad, oh bad, bad, bad. I didn't think things could get any worse, but then they did. Whoosh! A strong updraft swept up our atom, sending us flying high into the cloud. Magic school bus disappeared from sight far below us again. I should have known it was just a matter of time before we started colliding with other atoms. Wham! Not again, Arnold groaned. Sure enough, we had hit another atom. One of its electrons broke free and began orbiting our atom. But it wasn't just an electron. Charlie Nimbus, we all cried. We all cheered as he zipped into orbit around our atom, still holding onto DA's notebook. I've been reading up on static electricity and electric storm, Charlie said, waving the notebook. Did you know that when electrons are transferred from one atom to another inside cumulonimbus, huge amounts of static electricity build up. Positive electric charges build up at the top of the cloud, and negative charges build up at the bottom. I have to admit, I was impressed. Charlie was starting to sound as if he really knew what he was talking about. Actually, we found that out for ourselves when we took an electrifying ride to the ground and back on a lightning bolt. Wow! Charlie's eyes went wide. I think I saw a different kind of lightning when that stayed inside the cloud. Wow! If it was inside the cloud, it must have been closed, Wanda said. Arnold gulped and looked nervously around us. You mean there is more lightning around here? Yes? Oh yeah. The storm isn't done yet. The light show is just getting started. Chapter 8. Was one lightning bolt enough? Wasn't one lightning bolt enough? I sure thought so, but I guess our cloud had other ideas. Crack, boom. A flash of lightning shot between the top of the cloud and the bottom of it. It lit up the whole cloud. The roaring clap of thunder that followed made us all cover our ears. There it is again, said Charlie. That's the same kind of lightning I saw before. Ralphie frowned. That lightning didn't go anywhere near the ground, he said. It never left our cloud. Only about one out of every 5 lightning bolts strikes the ground. Miss Frizzle told us all the rest travel from one cloud to another or between different parts of the same cloud. Miss Frizzle reached into the zippered pocket of her protective suit. She pulled out another diagram and held it up for us to see. Intercloud strike, intra-cloud strike, cloud to ground strike. Wow, said Carlos. That's some pretty striking information. Charlie took one look at Miss Frizzle's chart and started to write notes in DA's notebook. So that lightning just happens when a step leader travels from a negatively charged part of a cloud to a positive part of the same cloud, right? Charlie said. The freeze nodded. You're really charged with weather facts now, Mr. Nimbus, she said. Can you name that lightning? Sheet lightning, heat lightning, ball lightning, St. Elmo's fire. But I want to know more, said Charlie. He couldn't seem to get enough. Maybe Charlie might achieve his ambition after all. As we zoomed around the center of our atom, he looked at DA's weather book. What about cloud-to-cloud lightning and sheet lightning? Can we see them too? Arnold groaned and buried his head in his hands. With all these different kinds of lightning around, we're going to be toast. Lightning is dangerous, Arnold, Miss Frizzle admitted. Now she told us, but the freeze went on. There are always people can keep safe in thunderstorms. During thunderstorms, tips with staying safe. If you're inside or can get inside, stay inside. Don't use the phone. Keep away from electric appliances and outlets. Plumbing fixtures, other metal objects. Believe it or not, the metal plumbing and wiring in the walls of a house form a protective barrier. That's because lightning travels on the surface of the metal. It can reach objects inside a network of metal. As long as you stay inside during thunderstorms and as long as you didn't touch any metal, you will be safe. If you're outside, keep away from water. Take shelter in a car with a metal roof. The metal of the car will form a protective barrier. Again, stay inside the car and be sure not to touch the metal parts of the car. If there is no shelter, crouch down on both feet in a low, dry place. Don't take shelter under a tree. Tall objects such as trees attract lightning. I sure was glad to know how to keep safe in a thunderstorm, but We weren't exactly normal kids in a normal storm right then. We were electrons. Maybe there is a silver lining to this thundercloud, Carlos said. People say that lightning never strikes the same place twice. We already hit the ground with lightning once, so maybe we are safe. DA turned to a page of a book about whether I had to be one to break it to you, but lightning can strike the same place more than once, she said. Did I really need to hear that? No way. I sure would like to get away from here, I said, say 10 or 20 miles away. Would have to go farther than that to steer clear of lightning, Keisha, Miss Frizzle informed me. Lightning can hit the ground as far as 40 miles away from a storm, and once it strikes, it can spread out more than 50 feet. So detecting and tracking storms is more than just a way for meteorologists to get on TV. It's a way to help people stay safe. Now you're looking on the sunny side of things, Mr. Nimbus, said Miss Frizzle. I was glad our protective suits were keeping us safe. Winds carried us past half a dozen different bolts of lightning inside the cloud. We rammed into so many atoms, I lost count. This atom has gained a lot of electron, Charlie commented. Look, we're sinking down to the bottom of the cloud. As we floated downward, I kept looking for the magic school bus. I had had enough of the electric life. Too bad all I saw were more and more negatively charged atoms crowding around us. The bus was nowhere to be found. Yippee! Charlie bounced and jostled against all the electrons, waving DA's notebook in the air. My meteorology teacher never told me rubbing elbows with electrons could be so exciting. It's electrical. But Tim didn't have a chance to finish his sentence. Whoosh! Stream of electrons shot down from the bottom of the thundercloud. It's another stepped leader, DA said, and we are part of it. Not again. Not that we could do anything to stop the step leader from taking us with it. We zigzagged down toward the ground so fast that it was hard to see straight. Hey, Tim looked down and pointed. There's a Channel 6 news station. I managed to spot the building sitting all by itself at the top of a hill. Wow, I said, blinking. A streamer just jumped up from that antenna on the news station roof. That's a streamer, all right? But that pole isn't an antenna, it's a lightning rod. Charlie flipped through a DA's notebook. Lightning rods take the heat off. It says here that once a streamer makes contact with a step leader, Charlie said electrons flow super fast to make a bolt of lightning. Miss Nimbus, you're showing a stroke of genius for weather. She didn't have time to tell Charlie any more about it. At that moment, the streamer and the step leader met. Uh-oh, I said. Then everything went white hot. Chapter 9. Get ready for a megawatt dose of heat, light, and sound energy, said Carlos. I wasn't ready to fire the first time. I'm definitely not ready now, Arnold said. All at once, we were surrounded by super bright light and a hot blast of heat. The roaring boom of thunder came, making me feel as if we would fall right out of the sky. This was too much. All I could do was clap my hands over my ears, close my eyes, waiting for it to end. Then in an instant, it was over. The air felt cool and wet. The only sound for an electron, this is a positive experience. I heard was the heavy patter of rain and hail falling. I took a deep breath and opened my eyes. Hey, we're back in the parking lot of the Channel 6 news station, I said. Magic School Bus is here too, said Phoebe. Our protective suits and goggles were gone. We are regular size again. So was the Magic School Bus. It was parked in the lot right next to us. Rain and hail pelted down from above. But we are so dazed. We just stood there getting wet. Charlie shook his head and blinked a few times. He stared at the smoke that rose up from the lightning rod. Did we just turn into a thundercloud and zap down here on a bolt of lightning? Charlie asked. He looked kind of confused, as if he couldn't quite believe what he had said. Maybe it was just a dream. I didn't blame him for being puzzled. The first time I went on one of the Fritz field trips, I had a hard time believing it was real too. Just look at Charlie's hair, Wanda whispered to me. That's definite proof that he's been zapped. She wasn't kidding either. Charlie's hair wasn't just frizzy. It stuck straight up from the top of his head. We all turned as the door to the news station banged open. Half a dozen people piled out of the station. They gaped at the smoking lightning rod, all talking at once. Wow, did you see that lightning? I thought the sky was going to split open. The lightning made a direct hit to the lightning rod. They looked really worried, and they saw us standing out in the storm. Miss Frizzle told them we are all right. Getting up close and personal with the thunder and lightning has been a wonderfully electric experience, said the Freeze. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Nimbus? Charlie flashed his sparkling white teeth. Absolutely, he said. He handed DA a notebook and turned to the studio executive. This thunderstorm was sudden, but as we aspiring meteorologists know, cumulonimbus clouds can form fast in as little as 30 minutes. Those studio executives sure wasn't laughing at Charlie now. They listened closely. As he went on to talk about water vapor, cloud formation, static electricity that builds up inside cumulonimbus clouds. When he was done, studio executives talked seriously among themselves, went over to Charlie and said, you sound like a serious weather forecaster now, Mr. Nimbus, but, well, you might want to fix your hair before your next camera test. Charlie glanced at his reflection in the side mirror of the bus. Having a bad hair day doesn't bother me anymore. Nice looking hair isn't nearly as interesting as tracking and forecasting the weather. Big smile spread across Miss Frizzle's face. You can see that our trip has cleared up some weather issues for you, Mr. Nimbus. She said, from now on, I'm sure you will be dedicated to completely accurate forecasts. Apparently, the studio executive thought so too. As they led Charlie back inside the studio to continue his job interview, we heard him saying, I'm planning to go back to school and learn everything a bit more about weather. I think education is so important, don't you? You're right behind them. We are finally going to get our tour of the weather center. Everyone had a great time. We even got to stand in front of the camera and see ourselves on the TV weather map. That was when I noticed that Charlie wasn't the only one whose hair had been zapped. We all had gotten a charge from the field trip. Our field trip had definitely been electrifying. I knew we'd never forget it. The end.